Fusion Radio.
This is Neo.
This is Nicki Minaj.
Yo, what's up, y'all? This is Usher.
What's up? This is Beyonce.
Live and digital 24/7 at myfusionradio.com.
#1 station for hip hop and R&B.
One world, one voice. Fusion Radio, making the internet great again. One download at a time. myfusionradio.com.
Hey, it's your girl Sunshine, and catch us on Hot Noise Radio every Saturday at 8 p.m. Only on My Fusion Radio, one world, one voice.
Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to this game called Life with yours truly, Coach PBJ. I am so super excited today. I have two of my finest here. My mini me's, one by me and one from my youngin' from another mother. I am so excited tonight to have with us tonight, joining us again, Rashina Birch. Say hello, Rashina. And joining us for the first time, Miss Keandria Richardson. Say
Hello.
And then we also may get a pop in by Mr. Tony Jackson.
All right, then.
So I'm excited to be here tonight with these young ladies. They are really two amazing young ladies. I'm gonna let them tell you their stories, but Sheena and Kiki met in college, their first year in undergraduate, and I remember they were roommates and we were moving them in, and that was a very, very interesting experience, and nothing has changed in our lives since that time. So Sheena and Kiki, why don't you guys, Kiki, this is your first time joining us, so why don't you greet the audience?
Hey, everybody. My name is Keandria Richardson. They call me Kiki. Miss Paula is my mom. Really, it's like my godmom, and Sheena is like my sister. I've known Sheena for close to 20 years now.
It's a long time.
It's been a long time, so maybe like 15. I'm kind of adding a little bit.
Don't say
Rounding
20.
up.
It's rounding up to
But close.
Sheena likes to round anyway, so I was trying to kind of do what Sheena does and just round to the nearest tenth. But
Right.
That means y'all would have met at 14.
oh,
They met in the
but see, I was 17.
Exactly. That's why
Yeah.
I said it's pretty close.
So I'm close. So what's that? 3
3 years
I don't want
old.
to try to do the
So
math.
17 years.
17
17 years.
Yeah, that's a long time.
So it's been a
long time.
minute. So that's Kiki. Hey everybody.
Rashina, say hello.
Hey. Y'all know me. This is my third time on the show. But yeah, y'all know me. Third time on the show. Yes.
That's me. I'm sorry.
I love that.
That's me. That's the thing about modern technology. When you don't know what you're doing, you just mess stuff up, right? So, Sheena and Kiki, talk about your first years in college. How was that for you guys? Talk about whatever. Y'all know how we do. We just going to talk about what we talk about. You know, what I really love about Rashina and Kiki, and Tony is here too, because what they often do, Kiki lived with us for a while when they were, right before they were both planning to move to LA.
Yeah.
They moved in with us, and we helped them learn how to manage their life so that they can be prepared for the LA. And I think we did pretty good, Tony. I think we did pretty good.
I think we did
Yeah,
all right.
yeah, we did all right.
That's funny
But
how
I
y'all like to
rem-
take credit for it, but
Yeah,
okay.
we did, you know. I think we enlightened y'all a lot, and we educated y'all a lot, and we gave y'all some rules. We gave y'all some challenges that y'all had to accomplish before you left, and I think y'all did a good job in doing that, and y'all proved us. Y'all took away our fear and did what you needed to do.
Yeah.
And there are some daredevils here. They do what they do.
I think they took a lot of our teachings and multiplied it, like the living in present and their diets, because they started that. We started that journey with them. It just
Absolutely.
you and I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit, but they still reading labels and not eating
Oh
certain
my God.
things.
That's
and-
right.
Okay.
She comes home.
Yeah.
She still comes home, Kiki, and she goes to my refrigerator. And I'm like, Tony, I thought I had some jellies. You like, I threw it away because it expired. I'm like, who read labels? But she really reads. So I'm pretty sure my refrigerator will be cleaned out again this week.
Since I'm home.
Okay.
So Kiki and Sheena, y'all do this thing that every time you come over to our house, y'all come into our room
Absolutely.
and you take a seat on our bed,
Absolutely. My
regardless of
favorite.
what time it is, because y'all always have questions.
Yep.
and y'all would sit on our bed, and they look forward to sitting on our beds and not letting us go to sleep, and because they have so many questions. So talk to me. What do y'all want to talk about today?
Well, I'll say first, thank y'all for giving us those tools, right, to take on our journeys as we ventured out into different countries too, but different
States.
parts of the country, and into different parts of our journey, right? Like, because we needed, first of all, that was my first time ever doing a plant-based thing.
Diet. Oh my God.
With you guys, it was
Right.
a plant-based thing that we had to do. And from then on, like you said, I've been looking at labels since.
Yeah.
I haven't stopped looking at labels. But just thank you to y'all for what y'all instilled in us.
Well, you are welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome. All right, so what questions y'all have for me and Tony tonight?
Girl.
Y'all like it? I mean, just different things. And I think I was sharing with both of you, and because I know that you guys are now talking about starting your own podcast, and I cannot wait to see it, because y'all have some of the most interesting conversations. But I remember, Kiki, you were in the valley of decision.
Yep.
And you were getting ready to, you had to decide between singing with BB1 and for the play. What was the name of that play?
Born for This.
Born for This.
Yep.
And American Idol.
American Idol, yep.
And you and Sheena went to a store somewhere.
We went to Publix. We were at that's crazy.
Tell us about that.
Well, what's funny is so of course now it's a thing where people go into the grocery store and they just bothering people while they are grocery shopping. I thought about that when Mama brought this up the other day. I was like, what's crazy is that actually just used to be things me and Kiki used to do in real life, like in real life. So we were in the grocery store, and what did we say? We were asking people something. I can't remember exactly.
Because I said,
You didn't know who BB was.
yeah, well, I was saying if they said something with the letter B,
Right.
I was like, if the next person who says something that begins with the letter B or something silly, like I was just like, if it says the letter B, then I'm gonna go with BB.
And
if it says A, then I'm gonna go with the American Idol. And I think something happened to where it was the letter B.
Yeah.
And I just can't remember exactly what. I don't know if it was my receipt or if it was the cash register, the cash lady. Somebody said something starting with the letter B, and I was like, "Oh, Sheena."
I have never heard this story.
I think he's going with
You
BB.
just don't remember this story, because that was a big deal in our house.
It was a whole thing.
It was a
yeah.
whole thing, yeah.
I can't remember exactly what they said, but it was definitely like letter B.
Yeah.
And that was after a whole bunch of praying and crying and, the whole 9 yards. But I ended up going with the BB Winans show.
Yeah.
Yep. And that
Yeah.
started opening up doors and
And
opportunities.
that opened, yeah.
And so we're so godly proud of you guys. You flex and you send your mama pictures with your little celebrities that y'all be on. But you remain.
Causing problems in our household.
She just sent the picture. Still hadn't got to meet the persons.
I sent a whole video
She
of
sent a
him
birthday singing
wishing
happy
you
birthday.
happy birthday.
Which
Morris Chestnut.
Yes,
Right. Come on,
I
stop.
met some. Man.
And he said happy birthday, Paula. He did.
I love that.
Just kidding.
I didn't get a happy birthday from Morris. Where's mine?
She got a personal
it was so
FaceTime with
right.
other people she got a personal FaceTime with other people while I was on set though.
She
Can
did.
we I'm
She
talking
did.
about Kiki.
Oh, I did.
Kiki.
Oh, yes.
Oh, but y'all get to go in the after parties. What y'all
I
call
love
those
that.
things? What you call the after parties when the set's closing down and all of that stuff?
Rap
Like
parties.
rap parties, and y'all
Yeah.
go to the rap party.
Yeah.
Tony, I mean, Kelsey has gotten to go to the rap party. Sheena and Kiki invite each other to the rap party. Why do you think they haven't invited us to the rap
There's
party?
an age limit.
That's what I was about to say.
Wait a minute. It's an age limit on who you going to invite or who can come.
Both.
Kiki, is that the absolute truth? Because we talk about
You
shit.
know. I'm going to let Sheena have that one. I'm going to be quiet. Sip my little matcha.
The truth is there's only plus one. Typically in these situations.
That really is the truth. It's only a plus one.
And so it's like, well, Mom, the only reason why you can't get invited is because I would feel just terrible not being able to bring Tony along. So therefore, y'all both stay home.
I felt like that too. I really don't have that many friends anyway. So the only time I had a chance to take somebody somewhere was my premiere for the Kingdom Business Show. And I remember my agent saying, are you going to take your manager? Or are you going to? And I was like, Oh, of course not. I'm gonna take Sheena. What do you mean? I was like, what? It was a no-brainer, but it's definitely always plus one.
It's plus one
situations.
So we like to, the name of our podcast, Kiki, is This Game Called Life and How to Master the Game and Win. And we actually learned these principles together and growing up and affirming and just holding each other accountable in that space and paying attention to what we're thinking about, what we're saying, what we're allowing to come out of our mouth.
Yeah.
I'm starting to learn more and more every day that we have to guard the words that come out of our mouth, because everything that comes out of your mouth is yes and amen. And we've learned to believe that we are creating our circumstances, whether we choose to believe it or not.
Yep.
And when you and Sheena was getting ready to go to LA, you guys did start to create the space that you guys wanted.
Yes.
Now, it's not always easy, right? Sometimes we fall off. Sometimes we get distracted, the cares of life. But when we were really laser focused on creating that space, I can't think of one time when we didn't say or want something and didn't manifest it. Can you guys?
Yeah.
That you didn't?
But there would be like really big things. You know what I'm saying?
Like the lottery.
Yes.
Sheena would be in the car.
Baby. She knows me.
But see, this is the thing.
Sheena would be in the car like, I love the idea.
And please know that I am still in the car,
Like,
loving
I
the
love
idea.
of winning the lottery.
Especially when it was
Tomorrow.
it was like 1 billion something like a few weeks
so
ago. I was in the car. Oh, I
So
love
you
the
haven't
idea.
manifested.
Oh, I
But
love.
let me ask you this,
That
Sheena.
don't mean
When you're
it
loving
won't.
that idea, you won't. It's still not
It's
too late.
coming.
But let me ask you this. Y'all remember what we talk about, sponsoring thoughts?
Yeah.
And so, because a lot of times we will say, because I believe there are people whose testimony is that they just manifest the hitting the lottery.
Yeah.
And there are people who have hit multiple and multiple times.
Yeah.
And they manifest by saying. Now, we talked about sponsoring thoughts. And sometimes that sponsoring thought is so that it's like a whisper. And you can't hear it. But as soon as you say, I love this idea, that sponsoring thought, it's like, girl, you can hit the lottery. The chances
come
are
in
so
quick.
great. So, and you have to really silence your mind to really, because it's a space. And Sheena, when you first started manifestation, you love the idea of having things, but you didn't start loving the idea or getting to that space until after you spent some time meditating.
Definitely have to get to a quiet place and be in the type of energy. Something that I will say though too is that even with being in a quiet space, meditating or having the sponsoring thoughts to be supportive of whatever I am manifesting, I do also to believe personally that certain things are still going to be done in a certain time.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, you've manifested, it is already done.
But that's
so it's not going to come today,
It may
but
not show up.
it's not going to
Right.
show up today.
Right.
It's done, but there's a timing for it all to happen. So so when it doesn't happen, because also too, like when I went to play, I did go play when it was like a really big pot. And so, of course, I always play with the tellers, like, I'm going to buy the winning ticket. He was like, oh, you're buying the winning ticket? I was like, yeah. He was like, you're only buying one ticket. I said, it only takes one to win, right? And then he's like, well, you have to actually, like, play. You got the game, the trick is playing to win.
Yeah.
So you have it to do it. But I just feel like, certain things happen in a certain time. So for people who are out there, like, well, I am meditating, I'm praying, I'm in a quiet space. I feel like all of these things are aligned, but this big thing that I'm really wanting hasn't come. I don't let that doubt me. Every time for me personally, like, hey, I just played that 1 point whatever billion it was that hit, and some one person in California did win it.
So it was close.
It was
in the
close.
neighborhood. It was in the neighborhood.
I just be like, oh, okay, God said that wasn't big enough. Cool. We'll keep waiting, And
And
so
it's a
could it be
trust
that it
thing.
wasn't big enough, or could it be that we're not ready?
both.
It could be both, right?
It could definitely
And
be
so
both.
no,
Or it could be a
we're
multitude
being
of
a little
things.
facetious talking about the lottery, but at the end of the day,
yeah.
who don't want to be a millionaire? Who don't want to hit the lottery? But I think that for us, it's so much more to life than that.
Yeah.
Because we don't want that easy road out. Now, if we take it, God give it to us. Okay, thank you. We will not turn it down, right? But it's so much more purpose in our lives.
It's
that we
that.
can't-
Oh,
It's the not wanting the easy road. Oh,
I was gonna say, coming from somebody who has won the lottery.
before. That's easy to say.
That ain't everybody's business.
Yeah,
True.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
did. But me and Robert in 1996, how long ago it was, but we were in a space. I mean, we were in a destitute place. There was so much going on financially in our lives. And I was just like, you know what, Lord, you need to come tonight. And I was like, I had never played the lottery at that time in my life before. So, yes. And I didn't listen to Robert. Had I listened to Robert, we would have had $52 million. But we ended up with 100,000. So I'll take that too. But it was exactly what we needed for that space that we're in. And it also showed me that we definitely was not ready for the 52 million. Right?
1,000%.
And so,
Why do you think though?
I mean, because I was told I was very immature.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I mean, even with a little $100,000, I mean, that's not a whole lot of money, especially after they tax it, right?
Yeah.
And so, but we did everything we needed to do. We got ourselves completely out of all the debt that we got ourselves. So that's what we
You
did.
bought a house.
And then we used what was left for down payment on our first house. So you're absolutely right. So,
That's
but
good though. That's a good point.
I don't ever want money to change me. And I think that quick money sometimes it does more bad than it does good.
Yeah.
And so, and I believe that God will still give you that, but you have to also decide what are you going to give in return for that. God, I don't believe that we're just going to get, and that's why a lot of people within the first year that hit those big numbers are then bankrupt
most of them.
because then it becomes, like, so if God decides to bless me, which he is going to bless Excellion and Tony and I through our businesses, because we're doing great in our businesses and what we believe is going to happen because we like giving back. Our way of tithing don't always look like the traditional ways of tithing, but we're very in tune with what God says to do. I had a friend several years ago, and she was a single parent, and she had 2 kids, and she went through a divorce, and she was in a desolate place. She had no money to pay her mortgage. And so she called me desperate for help to pay her mortgage, and I didn't have it. I couldn't give it to her. And she ended up losing her home. Now, of course, I don't own her losing her home, but I was very sad that I wasn't in a position to help her.
Right.
And I clearly heard, I said in the spirit to bringing you all the tithes and offering to my house. And so I'm like, I pay my tithe at church. God says, but I said into my house.
Right.
And see, we say that I am God's house.
Right.
God's house is not the building. He dwells inside of me. And so God says, I said, bring it there. You're giving it outside of everything, but I'm going to send some people to you. He says, so that might be meat in my house. So that I want you to start setting aside a tithe.
Right.
So that when I send people to you, you can then do what I tell you to do.
Right.
And so there was no reason why I should not have had some money set aside to be able to help this single parent because that's what my heart is.
Right.
I don't want to have to give no applications and
Right.
what I, you know what I'm saying? If God
Yeah.
says do it. And even now, several times my husband has been in the store and he'd be like, hey, Paul, I see this lady. And you can tell the lady, she pitching pennies and she having to put stuff back and she's got the 5 kids behind her and she's trying to figure out what are they going to eat and what she can get. And the kids is crying for everything. And he would say, hey, this lady in the store, I'm going to buy her groceries. All right, cool. So that's how God is using us right now in this time. And we just have to be obedient to that. And the more we give away, the more God gives back to us. Pressed down, shaken together. And so I think that I'm already a billionaire, Sheena. It just doesn't show up the way the world. Be ye not conformed to the ways of this world. So it doesn't look like the way the world. You know what I mean?
Can I say something?
Sure you can.
I believe Sheena and Kiki honestly have already hit the lottery because when I look at the number of folks that y'all brought out to California that have had to leave because they couldn't find work or do this, that, or the other, but you guys have been steady. Even in your layoffs, your money continues to come. So you guys have been steady since you've been there, 4 or 5 years, however long it's been. I didn't realize it had been so long, and I think that also comes from, again, us laying that foundation, believing that everything is possible for us when we keep the positive mindset, and we make sure that we don't let our minds linger on these negative things or on things of lack. We're always looking and affirming that we have everything that we need. And I think that has been y'all's lottery to this point.
Yes.
And what I'll say to add to that too is also finding gratitude in the space that you currently are in.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Not being so focused or pressed on there that you miss like right here. Like I make it a habit. Like y'all, my parents have seen my new place. They came the weekend I moved actually. Like walking into my home every day, and I'm just like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Not only do I have a bigger place, I'm saving $1,000 a month. You know what I'm saying? And just being grateful for the fact that I'm able to, because I moved a month after we started going on strike.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So even being in that position to get a new place and just like, sitting at home, just like, thank you. Thank you for where I am today. You know what I'm saying? And appreciating that space because I feel like more blessings come. Literally, I tell people all the time, and this is not a joke, checks just show up in my mailbox. I had 2 checks just show up at my brother's house. You lost one
I
of them.
lost one of them. I gotta find that check. I gotta find that check. It's in the house somewhere.
But no, in real, like 2 checks just showed up at my brother's house, and my brother is like, and I haven't been at Treasure Court in
Oh my
years.
God, in years, yeah.
And I'm just like, this is just how my life.
That's how it
That's how
goes.
it goes.
It's just
And
how
it's
it
also
goes.
too just being grateful. Now these aren't $1 million checks, but I'm grateful for this $70 check. I'm grateful
Okay.
for this $150 check. I'm like, ooh,
And
thank
this
you.
$675, I'm okay for it. I'm grateful.
Right,
You know, and if I can, I want to add to that. Even in situations like when you don't have a whole bunch happening at the moment, right? Still being grateful, because when I first moved out to LA, I went first, of course, doing the Born for This show, and I was there for about 7 months. And the money I had from the show ran out. Amen. So, and luckily a friend of ours from college, Deron Horton, let me stay on his couch, at the house. I told him I'd probably need like a month, maybe a month or something like that. Ended up being 7 months.
Right.
Wow.
He's still telling me I owe him money to this day. But
Like the $60 you owe Trey.
like the $60 I owe people, okay? They're like, wait till you make millions and then pay me. But I didn't have money like that at the time. But learning what we learned at the house here in Atlanta was be grateful. It's the gratitude for where you are. And at the time, I was slightly depressed. And I was like, Lord, what's happening? I can't just go back because, I believe in myself and I believe in you. And so, we got to make it work. But it's hard, and I had to find gratitude, though, in the fact that I knew that I believed in myself. I knew that I believed in God, and I knew that I was okay. All things are working together for the good of those who love God and who are called. So it's like you have to find that gratitude.
And so
and
then
things
what had
will
happened,
turn-
she came to the bed. She came to the house, her and Sheena, and she climbed up on the bed, and she talks about what's going on, and then we have to get back in that space where we get into that we're just gonna trust you, God
We're gonna
space.
trust you.
And then
Yeah.
you did a lot of writing the vision and making it plain that
Making
they
a
didn't
smart
read it,
plan,
making
yes.
a smart plan, putting down
Right.
those goals for those my clients who are stacking on writing your goals. It works. Kiki and
Ooh, it
Sheena can tell
works.
you that putting together those smart goals, putting an action plan to those goals, and then affirming. And I remember during that time, I remember Kiki came to the house, and this was before you moved to LA, right before you moved to LA. And I was just going through so much at that job, and I was so depressed for being there, knowing that there was so much more to life than being in that space and somebody
right.
else telling me what to do and all of this drama.
Right.
And I turned 50 plus at that time. And I'm like, I'm a grown woman, and
Okay.
I'm tired of people just trying to tell me what to do, especially when you know that they don't know.
Right.
And so I remember I was so pressed, and Kiki came and caught me crying. And I think she called you and said, your mama crying.
I don't remember.
And so you went in your room
Oh,
and
yeah.
you wrote a letter
And buried it.
and went outside in our front yard and buried that letter
Yep.
right before your window. This and they were staying with us. And the letter said that I was going to be off that job.
I was writing that you were gonna be off of that job. I think I was writing like certain amount of money that you and Tony
You
were
were
gonna
gonna
get.
make,
I
yeah.
was writing just affirmations, things
Right.
that I was wanting for you guys,
and then she
Folded
read,
that
then
thing
she
up and-
folded it and buried it under the ground.
like sewing it.
And when I tell you, a few months later, I walked off that job.
She was off that job.
And started doing real estate. And that was in 2017 when I quit. Did a lot of training at the end of 2017. 2018 in January, I went and took a class, a huge class. And then I'm like, I'm killing the real estate game. Can't nobody tell me I wasn't killing the game. I'm like, bam, closing. I'm just killing the game. I'm balling, right? And then December came, and it was time for taxes. And Keller Williams gave me my 1099. And so I walked away from a $159,000 job, right? And I got my 1099 because in my mind I had already surpassed that $159,000, right? And I got my 1099. I said, Tony, this thing said we only made $27,000 this year.
Oh, wow.
I only made $27,000. But then I got excited, ladies, because I didn't know. I was
miss a
broke.
beat.
I
Yeah.
did not miss a beat. And that's when the whole thing about little is much when God is
Yeah.
in it became
yes.
life. And then it also, what you focus on expands. We didn't focus on what we did not have. You said it a moment ago, Shannon. We stayed present. We stayed
stay
present
present.
in the moment.
Yeah.
We didn't allow our minds to be crowded about worry. Even when we have those, like, how this going to come? That's when we discover there has never, ever, ever been a time in our life when we really needed something that it didn't show up.
Woo, and that is so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And remember we started saying about that. So when life is clogging in, I'm like, well, that stuff ain't happening now. Yeah, but if I don't pay it by tomorrow, okay, but tomorrow ain't got here yet.
Yeah.
When you need it tomorrow, it's gonna show up, and that has been our testimonies
Yeah.
in our life. And for both of you to have been really not working in how many months now?
Child, I still feel like I ain't worked in 5 years.
It's been
while.
some months. It definitely has been some
It's
months.
been a while.
And
people
Tom, I ain't saying it,
ask,
but Sheena paid for our dinner tonight.
I did.
uh-oh,
Praise to God.
Right.
what dinner?
It was technically our first meal of the day, so it must have been Paula's dinner because I'm definitely gonna eat again.
But
Just make
talk to
sure I'm
me.
there, amen?
So tell me, what has been in this is what I call enlightening moment, and this totally different way of bonding and connecting with all that is, and connecting with God and being one with each other. What has been both of your greatest experience in this journey that you're now walking in, and what are some of the challenges? Because it's not always easy. So who wants to go first?
I'll go. What's been the biggest, I guess, discovery, or like the biggest enlightening part of the journey I've noticed so far, or at least recently I've been seeing, it is the actual walk of it that's been really cool. It's like you have the moments of like, oh, I'm doing a job and it's like, it's paying well and I'm meeting this person and that person and I'm doing this and that. Those things are cool, but then when you get down to like the valley part of it, where you're not really doing much and things are kind of slow, I've learned that even in those moments, it's so precious. All of it is just so very precious, and it's kind of like, oh, this is the meat, this is the gold. The journey of it all is the goal. Like, it's not gold. It's not like just the highs, right? And it's not the lows either. It's just kind of learning how to have faith through it all, and learning how to enjoy all of it, the up and the down. Like, all of that is the richness of the whole process to me. And I'm like, oh wow, look at this.
Yeah.
Because at first you chase and you run after, and it's like, ooh, I just want to make it, and I just want to get it, and I just want to do it. But
So
it's
now
like
you're just learning to just be.
yeah,
And I
the,
think
Just be.
fun is just
that
in
kind of
being.
strengthens us as well. It strengthens those moments. Why are
Yeah.
you pointing that thing at me? It just makes us dig deeper into our mindsets when we have those moments.
Yeah.
I
Right.
also feel like it's the beauty in it. Like, you hear people all the time say, enjoy the journey, enjoy the journey, enjoy the journey. And you say enjoy the journey because once you get to, like, what people fail to realize is in entertainment, I'm going to use acting in our fields, for example, because people who aren't to where the places that we've been, where they're on a TV show or working on big projects behind the scenes or whatever the case may be, they're itching to get to that point, right?
Yes.
Then once you get to that point and you experience it, first you're going to be like, wait,
Is this
this is it?
it? I had an actual moment like that.
This is what, because I went to a wedding on Saturday, and most of us are filmmakers, and of course we're all talking, and there are a lot of people who are in this because they are passionate about it. Then there is 80% of all other people that are in this because it is a business and it is a lucrative business.
Yeah.
So they don't see it from the perspective of genuine creators or artists who are passionate about it. It is a business to them. So when you get into it and you see how it really works and all the things, it's like, I done did all of this to come here, but your expectation of it was different. Then you get a second to reflect on, well, all the fun part was, you know what I'm saying, the journey of getting here.
What's the fun part?
That was the part that you enjoyed.
The part where you didn't know what to do when you didn't have anything. The part where, like, all of a sudden you come up on some money. The part where, oh, I'm moving from this place to this place. All of those moments are the moments to cherish. Those are the things you need to write down, because that's what carries you.
Yeah.
It's the part that carries you. The big moment is just a big moment, and then that's it, you know. And I'll even say I had an experience. I was on tour I was just on tour with I don't know if I should say
You can't say it.
I don't know. I mean, I did On the Run too, so I was okay.
Right.
There it is.
Right.
So I was doing On the Run too, and I'm watching, Beyonce and Jay-Z, and they're like schmoozing around and everything, and she's got her champagne, and everybody's trying to get to B and J, everybody's trying to get close to them, and I'm looking around at all of these people, and I literally say out loud, I was like, Lord, is this it? So I said, Lord, is this it? Because I'm watching this woman who is at like the top of this game, this thing that I've always wanted to do in my life. And I'm like, wow, she is at the top of it right now. So this is like it. And I'm like, Lord, is this it? So you mean to tell me we gonna go home? She's gonna go home. She's gonna go to sleep, get up, come back to work the next day, get on stage, dance around, jump around, be tired, you know what I'm saying? Go home, hopefully get to see her children, and then wake up and do it all again. And then it's like, okay, you win an award and you put it on your shelf, and then what?
Right.
Oh my God! That reminds me. I was telling you I was getting your phone to look up Ecclesiastes 3. It talks about vanity, vanity, all is vanity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so I think Solomon says that, we all go through this stuff, and we're all, and Solomon was the wealthiest, the richest man ever.
Right.
And the wisest. And he says, you wake up and it's like, is this it? This is how?
It
and he
never
says you're chasing all
you.
of these things.
Yes.
And then he says at the end of the day, it's some scripture in there. It says something about, I don't have my Bible, but he talked about at the end of the day, we're going to end up just like a dog. We're going to all die and end up in the same space.
Yeah.
And he says, so we chase after all of these things, and then for what? So enjoying the journey, but then it gets to the place that the journey is never enough.
And
right?
that's the thing.
And so you the fun. You said the fun part is on the journey, but then when I get there, it's like, is this it?
Is this it?
Yeah.
But that's also too.
Until you change your mindset.
I was gonna say that's also too in this light, because also too when you start understanding purpose, because then that goes into another thing.
That's a whole nother.
Then you start understanding purpose, and then you'll understand. Yeah, Beyonce is this, that, and the third, but you have a different assignment.
Period.
Beyonce is on. Beyonce
That's
is
right.
whatever it is.
Right.
This is a tool to navigate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we get put in these places to see how things are done.
Right.
To see what's really going on, so that once you get to where you're going, or along your way to get into where you're going, you can move differently. You can do differently. And the end goal is not, okay, yeah, you'll be doing world tours, but you'll also be putting out a different energy, a different frequency that Beyonce ain't putting out. You know what I'm saying?
Yours, and hers is hers.
And hers is
then
hers.
yours
She
is
has
yours.
the grace for that.
And then she's
Right.
gifted in that.
Right.
And so I think that's a good point, Sheena, because at the end of the day, where we start making mistakes at is that we feel like our journey or our part, even in her journey, is not enough. Not knowing that what is my assignment in this thing, and then zooming, like raise the focus on what your part and what you're bringing to that table.
And I want to make sure I close that thought after the is this it. My why changed of why I was doing what I was doing.
That big why, gotta have that big why.
Has to be right,
Yes.
And so it was, instead of just chasing a dream to be a star, that's what I wanted when I was a child. But now I'm older and I understand things more. Oh, okay, I'm here to do a job. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to do a task. I have a purpose. So all of those things started to come together, and then it created the why I do what I do. Can I sell an album? Can I tour around the world? You know, like just seeing what I'm capable of instead of like, oh, I just want to be a star.
Yeah.
And then getting there and seeing that it's actually not satisfying at all. It's unfulfilling, and it's another job. that
So
you're
what is
working,
it? What is
you
your
know?
big why now, Kiki? What is your big why?
So, and that's also the thing that I'm kind of still, I don't want to say still figuring out, but I'm still walking out. It's kind of, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, what all am I capable of while I'm here on the earth, right? What all can I do? I don't want to put any limits on myself. And also, God, what is your will? Because I believe I was sent here for a reason, to do something to build the kingdom of God. I feel like that's ultimately all of our jobs at the end of the day. I feel like when you feel like you're destined for something, and when you're called, and when you know what you want to do from a child, I believe God sometimes puts that in you. And so I'm like, okay, I'm learning how to surrender the thoughts of just, oh, I just want to do this and I just want to do that, and say, okay, God, what is your will? And I want to align my will with yours and walk that path. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And so whatever that is, whether it be praying with people, whether it be ministering, you know, in some way, somewhere in my job, I found myself doing those things. Like I found, even in high school, people would come to me about some of their issues that they wouldn't talk to their family members about. And I'm like, oh, I see. So I'm here in the entertainment industry, but my gifting is when people can come to me and talk to me about these things, and we can pray about them, or they can feel solace or feel refuge with me or whatever. That's the gift, you know? So it's just kind of finding out how God can use you with the talents that he's given you, right? How he can use your spiritual gifting too, and also use your talents.
And they're not
bless
separate.
people.
You know, they're not. They're one and the same. Your spiritual gift, your gifting. I'm writing. I've written myself a purposeful affirmation for myself, declaring who I am. And in one part of that affirmation, I said I am grateful for my innate gift. That thing that I was born to do. I'm grateful for that. And mine does not show up like Kiki's. Mine does not show up like Rashina. But I'm all of a sudden. Or Tony's, but I am now so aware of what my purpose is. But when you align your purpose up with to how somebody else's purpose look, you start to belittle yourself. I think Marion Wilson said, she said, you start to shrink so other people won't feel uncomfortable around you. Or so that you, it's not our darkness, she says, it's our light. It's that light, right? Right? And so that light that shine within us. And so Kiki, Rashina, being in those spaces, because at the end of the day, I don't even enjoy watching much TV anymore, because everything is just so negative. It's just so
Drama,
dark.
Yeah, it's just
dark.
I mean, nobody is faithful, everybody's murdered. I'm like, God, can we put something clean on TV, something that's going to empower and enlighten? But the unfortunate thing is the vast people like drama, and so they tune into that. So to be in those spaces, and even if you're playing on some of those shows, Empire, even if you're playing
I'm telling you, because it ain't nothing but drama show. Drama.
right, if
Talking
you're
about
playing
with the
on
quick shade.
right. Even if you're playing on some of those shows like Kiki, she did start on Empire, but when you're playing on those type of shows, to be able to be true to who you are, and to be light, right? And sometimes you can walk into a room and your very presence, right, will captivate that room. You know, when we walked into the studio, it was dark in here, and then he hit a switch. And when that light came on, darkness had to give way to that light. And that's supposed to be how our light. God says we are the light of the world, right? And so often Jesus was going through the town, and Zacchaeus saw him. I was talking about this, and Bishop Alvarado actually talked about this story, so I was excited to know that I'm reading, that I'm in the spirit, that I'm hearing.
I love that.
Right? And so he was talking about Zacchaeus, and he said the same thing I said, that Zacchaeus was in the crowd. He couldn't see Jesus because of the crowd. And so he decided to get up in the tree. He had to get into a high place. And he had a reputation. He was rich. He was wealthy. People talked about him. They called him a thief. They called him all this stuff. But that's the one that Jesus came to see. And Jesus says, okay, Zacchaeus, come down. He says, because I'm going to your house on tonight, right? And so, and even as Jesus going to his house, people still talking about him. But at the end of the day, that was a shift right there. And we have to be like that. We have to know that Jesus said, I didn't come from the same. I came for the lost. And so not judging people, not calling people lost, but just talking about the state of the world, talking about whatever is going on. It's a lot of loss. It's a lot of darkness. So he has called us to be light. So whenever somebody told me, Paul, when you walk into a room, you just captivated.
Yeah.
That's what I'm supposed to do. Because I'm light, right? Yeah,
That's
but I
how
do.
we're supposed to
it doesn't
be.
make me so much more better. It's just who I am. Especially when I'm walking in my purpose and I'm walking in my truth. That presence is supposed to change.
Yeah.
When you ladies walk into a space and you bring all of you into that space, man, people pay attention.
Yeah.
People start taking notices. Sheena, whenever you're on my show, people always say, when Sheena was on the show, I just love it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that's just an extension of me, so I don't know what y'all talking about, but
You're going to have a hater also, too. Remember that.
Especially when you were just talking about Zacchaeus and being lost. You know, Sheena was lost during that whole story. She ain't been to church in a long time.
Come on. I don't have to go to church to know the word, Tony. Thank you. It says read and show yourself. Thank you.
you say
Tell yourself what?
You say what?
Okay.
You better don't play with it. Rightly dividing the word of truth. Tell them, Sheena.
But what I would like to say is also to so once you understand your purpose and understand your assignment and know that you are the light and being the light, we talk about how dark everything is right now. And I actually had a friend call me out on being the light, because a lot of people, especially myself, I'll sit in my circles and we'll discuss how, like, oh, there's not a whole lot of music to listen to anymore, you know, because everything is so sexual, everything is so raunchy, everything on TV is, everybody is homosexual, or, you know, having sex scenes, or all of these things, or even on these podcasts, everybody's talking about their opinion on what they think and how it is and their perspective on it. And we just talk about the current content. And my friend said, yeah, we here talking about it, but you got the ability, Sheena. You ain't doing, you got episodes shot that you still ain't put out. So once you have that understanding of knowing, like, your light and your purpose, following through.
It's the follow through.
It's following through, which is also to work. And then the responsibility are either the idea, like you just said, well, everybody like drama. I'm not, that's not really me. I'm not really talking about drama. We're over here on having higher educations, but that's also a perspective, because there's this guy named 19 Keys who has a podcast literally talking about higher education, higher enlightenment. And people are listening. People are following.
So you just have
but
to do
you won't know until you do it.
And we were having this conversation the other day, talking about, if we are the light and we know that we have the ability to be light, sometimes it can be a scary thing, right? But then we were talking about the fact that all the darkness ain't scared at all. They are clouding and running like they are doing a whole thing. You got it all on the radios. You got it all on the TVs. It's all in the children's ears. Like, they're not afraid at all. So we kind of have to have that same type of mentality, that same type of fearlessness about it. Like, we are the light, and we're meant to be the light, and this is our job. Like, it's our duty. We can't leave here not doing our work. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of have to put our fears aside
and just do it.
And do it.
Or just be it, right?
Yeah.
I talked about I'm going back to the Bible. I don't know why, just the Bible just in my spirit today. Hallelujah, you want to do it.
It's a good book.
But it's a good book. It's a really good book. So Jesus said to Peter, I have given you the keys of the kingdom. And I, sometimes my professor in college, he says, you always have to wrestle with the text. And I got stuck on Jesus saying, I have given you the keys. Did he just give Peter keys? No, we all have keys.
Yes.
We all have a purpose. And the challenge becomes, Kiki, you talked about when you were on the tour. See, J and B using their keys. And they're using their keys well, right? But most people trying to be like them and want to use their keys. And God says, Kiki, you got your own keys. Now, you can travel, you can tour, but you got your own keys. Yeah. I need for you to use your key. Sheena, I need for you to use your key. Tony, I need for you to use your key. And here I am in my 25 years of life, finally understanding. Y'all done missed that. Y'all missed that.
We heard it.
We all heard you.
I didn't miss it. I thought you were talking about somebody else.
In my 25 years plus of life, and starting to really value my own keys.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
valuing
good.
my keys. These
That's
are my
good.
keys. And understanding, I mean, even looking at my own kids, I'm proud. Are they the best? Absolutely not.
Yes.
But they're the best for me. But they are the best for me.
Absolutely.
And I love what, the values and things that I have placed in them, and to give them their own space and their own freedom to discover what it is that works for them, and not placing my values. They got to discover their own, right?
Yeah.
And so being able to see that, and the only way I want people to desire what Paula has. And the only way people can desire what I have, and what I'm talking about is that connection, that oneness I have with God. I want people to desire that, because when they begin to desire that for seeing it in me, then they're going to desire it for themselves, right? And then they'll start to, how you get what you got? Well, this is what I do. I found that I'm working with a bunch of ladies right now. Okay, draw that circle. Tell me what it is in that circle that matters to you. What jumps out at you? What's your purpose? Because we spend a lifetime. Oh, look at him over there. I want to have that. That's called envy. No, use your own keys. And that's what I see both of you ladies starting to do, is to use your own keys. And I love how you don't sit around and just wait for what's next, that you're starting to create your next what. That you're starting to, this podcast y'all been talking about, but you're trying to create your own space, because you got something to share with the world.
Absolutely.
And the world needs to hear it. And we have to be careful about what we feed our ears and our eyes, which is, again, why I don't look at a whole lot of TV, because it drains me. It literally sucks the life out of me, because it's so freaking negative. And if we're talking about being positive and thinking positive and responding positive, we have to be careful about what we put in our ear and our eye gates. We have to learn to silence our mind, silence all of that noise, and get into that space. And it's okay to, to laugh and to joke and do the stuff that y'all do all the time. And it's okay, because I love laughter. It's also good for the soul. But so tell me, Sheena, what are your keys? What is your big why? We talked about Kiki's big why. What is your big why?
Big why, meaning why?
Why are you here? What floats your boat? Yeah. What's your purpose? Why haven't you moved back to Georgia? What brought you to?
Wait.
Not necessarily.
Wait.
I mean, it's a big why. You something that you're going for. It's a reason why you want to stay there. It's something that you're.
No, for real. In all seriousness, for me, at a very young age, my mom made us try everything, and amongst us trying everything, there was just a feeling that I felt when it came to acting.
Right.
Now, my mom them used to see me as a liar growing up, but now that we've come to understanding, because that's also another thing, they understand now that I actually was just a storyteller.
That's how we, okay.
Yes.
Yep.
And so amongst those, that storytelling and telling stories, I do think the way that certain things just come to my mind, I know it's not for me. You know what I'm saying? Just like the creativity and the stories. I know that my purpose is here to lead people along a path through storytelling.
Beautiful.
And I have the ability to also act that. You know what I'm saying? So not only am I gifted with creating the story, but I can also to walk the story. But first I have to live the story.
That's good.
Because as you guys know, phase 1 will be streaming on all platforms. Okay. Phase 1 is the story of my life. And when writing out actually things that happen, people are like, is this real? And I'm like, yeah, my life is a movie. Like, although a TV show, same thing, but I had to go through certain things to get to certain places so that I have the understanding of what I am supposed to do, what I am called to do here, what I need to do here, how to actually influence in a capacity that leads people to God.
Yeah.
That's good.
And Sheena did tell a lot of stories growing up. And the thing about her stories, people would call me and say, Sheena said, is that true? I'm like, no, that ain't true. Because she will create a whole full story. She got everybody parts what everybody said and everything in this story. Sometimes I have to be like, wait a minute, that happened? That really not happen.
Somehow in college, we had somebody believe that she was a vampire.
They thought
A real vampire, and he actually believed it. And this is when I knew. I said, "Oh, Sheena is the real deal." This man is in full belief
To this day.
to this day.
So
That's your vampire.
I want to share my why.
I love that.
What folks say, man, Tony don't never take off work. He works.
Yeah.
But my wife and I have this beautiful little 22, 3-month-old granddaughter.
Yeah.
And I have to leave a legacy for her and her children.
Yeah.
And I believe that your dad was an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
My dad worked for the same company for a very long time. So everything I've learned in business, I basically taught myself or learned from other people and other mentors. But I know that there are other people out here that leave things for their children,
Right.
that they leave a legacy, like their kids' kids.
Right.
And that's what my why is, to leave that for Anna Lee and her children, so that when they see T-Pop and Sweet Pea on the wall, they know that that's where it
That's
comes
right.
from.
That's right. Awesome,
I
Tony.
love
I
that.
thought you was gonna say to retire me,
But that's honestly, you laughing,
but I'll take that.
that really is,
one.
because I mean,
You're not
I
gonna sit
really,
down. I ain't gonna sit down. Just not gonna do it.
I don't ever want to see my wife, even so when she retired, and she made a certain amount of money, and together we made some really good money. And even though I make jokes about packages coming to the door every day and all
Every
that stuff,
day.
I really,
I don't know why Amazon be dropping that stuff off.
I don't want her to ever think that she has to change her lifestyle.
I love that, Tony.
Yeah.
That's one thing I admire too about watching you guys. I thank God, because God has put really good people in my life for me to watch, right?
Yeah.
And you guys just exemplify marriage, love, working together, communicating. Like, I don't know the ins and outs of, what y'all got going on, but from what
that
we
door
see,
closed, it'd be some drag
I'm
outs.
sure. But what we see,
we're
though,
a daily worker. I was telling her, I'm sorry to cut you off, Kiki.
totally
but
fine. Go ahead.
At the retreat that we went to, when we were about out of time, that he said, hey, thank you for sharing your story and for
Yeah.
you and your wife pouring into us. And I said, well, we appreciate the opportunity, but we're also a work in progress every day. So we haven't perfected anything.
Yeah.
But we work each day, and we take one day at a time just to get better.
And that's what we need to see, though,
Right.
right? Like us seeing that.
But something else, I agree, Kiki. But even when something we have to get used to, and I don't know why we do this, but when people see something in us, just say, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Be grateful,
Yeah.
because that means that the work that we're doing is paying off.
Right.
Right? That means some light is shining somewhere and people are starting to see it. And so, but sometimes we think it's being humble when we say, well, we're not perfect. No, we're not that, Tony. We are a work in progress, but we have come a long way. Now we just like everybody else. We are. But we can see the process, and then we start recognizing quickly when we get out that place. But I'm just so grateful again, because that's why I called you guys today and said, hey, come on a podcast with me, because me and Tony are so godly proud of the human beings that you ladies, Trey too. He's not here. We probably should have brought him too, but we are so
You know we're
grateful.
gonna hear it now.
I know we'll get him next time.
Y'all like
We are
Sheena,
so-
baby, y'all like me.
No, we
Kiki
don't.
owe me
Leave my baby
$60. She
alone.
on here. We love you, Trey.
We love you, Trey.
But we are so grateful for these kids, that the young people that you guys have, because sometimes, especially as a life coach, sometimes you feel like, dang, am I missing the mark, or am I helping anybody? But then you can't look at the ones that don't. You have to look at the ones who have and are continuing to do things. And like I said, the couple of times that Rashina has come here, I'll be like, okay, that sounds like something I said. So she be paying attention. Trey is paying attention. Tony is paying attention. Kiki, you're paying attention. So yeah, we're really out of time. We got
Let
2
Kiki
minutes,
finish her
but I
thought
want
real
you
quick.
to, I want both of you guys to
Oh,
close
yeah.
out with what you were saying, and then I want you to, what do you want to leave the listening audience with on tonight?
So just to finish that thought, just grateful to see a unit, right? Like that's working together to create this atmosphere of togetherness, I guess. Yeah, oneness. That's good. And just seeing that, now I have somewhat of a blueprint almost, right? Like things that I can take and say, okay, this is what I want. A husband that doesn't want to see his wife, have to change her lifestyle or whatever the case. And even if it doesn't look like money, it's just the fact that that's where your heart is.
Right.
That's a beautiful thing for us to see, because it's like, oh, this is a standard. We can't accept anything less than what Tony has shown us and less than what Miss Paula has shown us. Y'all live up here, inwardly y'all live up here. And it's I'm so grateful for you guys, honestly.
Thank you.
And what I would like to leave everybody with, keep God first is the first thing I would like to say, because when you keep God first and acknowledge God, he's going to direct your path and your steps. And secondly, know why you're here and know who you are, is what I'll say. However long it takes to get that, however long it takes to understand that or to realize that or to remember who you are, just dive into who you are and be solid in that so that you can really do your work and do it effectively in the earth. So yeah, keep God first and know who you are.
Be
Man, I
solid in
thought
who
you was
are.
going to say something and then sing a note or something.
Okay, that's coming later.
That was very
That's
pretty.
coming later. Let Sheena finish, then we're going to let Kiki take us out in the song.
Take us out in this.
It's
So we think about-
Wow.
Peter gave me 5 minutes.
Okay.
What am I doing?
Southwest
What you
Cab
wanna
in the house.
You want me to
Beats,
close?
so let's
You want
go.
me to close them out with something?
I want
With
you.
a song.
No, in all seriousness, if I can leave everybody with one thing, it is follow your light. Whatever you're feeling and you've been wanting to do it, you've been hesitant or you've been doubting or worried about what people are going to do or think, follow that inner gut, that intuition, and just do it. Like we said earlier, push through and do it. Doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter if you only have 3 people like it, stop. And also too, stop doing stuff for likes. Just be and allow for everything to happen the way that it is going to happen, the way that it's supposed to happen, by following that inner you, that inner voice, that God in you telling you to go for it.
So self-fulfilling. Just do you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, Tony, any last closing words from you?
God bless. Good night.
And so
That's
this
my
has
Russell
been
Simmons.
This Game Called Life. I'm so excited again to have Rashina here. We have had a good time on tonight. Thank you, ladies. And we're just going to let Kiki, you got a song in your heart today?
The greatest love is the only thing that came to mind.
Works for me.
Oh, okay.
Works for me.
So not the whole thing. I'm just gonna be real light and real simple with this. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all.
Amen.
Love yourself.
This has been This Game Called Life with yours truly, Coach PBJ, and we will see you next week. Woo-woo! Awesome.